Virgo, welcome to your May 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. So before I lay out the cards, I just wanted to tell you that Venus is going to be in Aries all month. And you know, Aries is such a fiery sign, and you guys are very staid. You know, you're very down to earth, humble, non-assuming people. So that kind of an energy is quite a jolt, and it will be in your 8th house of sex, death, and other people's money. So it may have some kind of a material component, financial component, where it's dealing with inheritances or things like that. If you have a spouse, their income, maybe they get a raise. But it can be some kind of situation, because when in the retrograde, Venus retrograde, it started in that house. So now it's coming back up after the going direct, and it's coming back into Aries and revisiting this house as it goes direct. So hopefully you've resolved something. Maybe you were questioning whether or not to stay married with a partner because you felt like there was no intimacy in the relationship. And maybe you have resolved that in some way. I don't know. But I just wanted to give you a heads up about that, because of course Venus is concerned with issues of love. Okay, 2 cards were stuck together. I'm going to put both of them as challenge cards. Wow. All's well that ends well. I was getting a little nervous there with the first 2 cards I picked. But I think that that's the aftermath of what maybe you were dealing with. The theme of this month of May is a 10 of Swords. This is a card, you know, they say of getting stabbed in the back, of some sort of betrayal. But actually, because it's the number 10, it's something that has kind of, let's put it this way. You've hit your bottom with the situation. So it could be, let's say you were in a marriage and you have had an unfaithful partner. Maybe you caught them the last time and that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and so you decided you were done. That was the last time that they were going to betray you. And although it may seem, oh my God, that's terrible, somebody cheated, it's not really that bad, because it allowed you to see the situation for what it is, or was, or yeah, no, is, and to be able to take action, appropriate action. Maybe you were on the fence and you thought maybe this isn't as bad as I think it is. And so it's about hitting bottom, and so the rest is all up from here. So it's really not that bad, because it's the end of the suffering. Now, this could literally be with the swords individual, so that could be an air sign. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. In the past, we have the 5 of Pentacles, and so this is a card associated with Mercury and Taurus, and the thoughts of limitation that it produces, which have to do with, it's basically lack consciousness. And it can also relate to an earth sign individual. So maybe this is the person. Maybe it wasn't a swords person who did this. Maybe it was an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Remember that this is a general reading, and that there are millions upon millions of people that are born under the sign of Virgo. So it's pretty silly to assume that you're all going through the same things, obviously. This is just meant to possibly touch upon at least a couple of themes in your life. Not for everything to be exactly correct. But some people sometimes say that, wow, everything was exactly what was happening for them. So that's pretty cool when that happens. But that's why I have to be so open-ended about it. So basically, this is a card that I associate with more of the mental stuff going on. Even though it's Pentacles and it can relate to actual, you know, material losses. If I were doing a general focus, I would say, oh, maybe you're unemployed or something like that. But this can be, for a love reading, more of the expectations that you have had when it comes to good coming to you. So I did pick this card for another sign, and I said, what are your expectations? And the law of attraction will say they will be matched by the universe. You will have things come to you based upon things that have happened in the past that you have thought of. And whether or not it's exactly going to happen that way, I think in general, if you have a very pessimistic outlook, that the universe tends to match that. If you think that all, let's say you're a woman, you think all men cheat, you may magically come across men who are unfaithful. And you say, see, there, I told you so. But you don't realize that you are a co-creator, whether you like it or not. And you're constantly creating based upon your thoughts. And I don't believe that 100%, because I don't believe that we have to be freaked out if we have negative thoughts. I think that as long as we're conscious that we're having negative thoughts, we've basically won the war. It's when you're walking around unconscious that a lot of the problems occur, because you just have no idea of what you're generating. But I think that that's a chapter in your life that is ending, because now we have the Queen of Swords. And this is, I'm thinking that this might be a facet of you. And this is about somebody, sometimes this can talk about someone who is divorced or a widow, or just, yeah, I guess that covers the gamut. Maybe a single person, but somebody who is solitary. It can be a female, and has really learned from her past and is learning more how to control or kind of like be led by her intellect rather than the emotional side. The Queen part of that is the feminine principle, or the yin energy, and the swords is the yang. So it's a perfect melding of the two. Sometimes you get too much feminine or too much masculine and there's an imbalance. But the Queen part of it is the emotional part of us, and you never want to lose that. You don't want to become all head and no heart. And that means you would be closed off to future love. But some of you may have kind of gone through the fire, and you realize now that maybe there are things that you need to do for yourself when you're in that relationship to kind of safeguard. Or maybe you need to choose better before you even get into a relationship. The Five of Pentacles can have people who are fear-based, who are like, oh my God, I don't have anyone, I'm alone, I need somebody, that lack consciousness. I need to be in a relationship or else I'm nobody. And they grab the first thing that comes along, and that may not end very well. The higher message is the Ace of Pentacles. This can be just something on the mundane level. This could be a job offer, or you may receive some kind of cash payout. Do you see the portal? The aces represent new beginnings. Now, it could be with finances or job, but it could be just a very bright future, stable future, connected to your earth element that is very solid, in other words. Even if whatever it is that you're going through is not something that you can hold in your hands, like, for instance, if you're thinking things in a new way, if you have a new way of thinking, you can't, that's not tangible, but it can produce a life of stability that perhaps has been lacking. Maybe you've been the kind of person who has been in a relationship in the past that was very chaotic or otherwise unpredictable. And for an earth sign like you, that is something that just doesn't sit very well. I was talking about this phenomenon with Aries when I did Aries love reading. And for Aries, that can be very thrilling because they are risk takers. You are very cautious. You are somebody who likes organization and likes things to be, you know, in order. And that extends to your relationship. So you're not the kind of person who would value relationships that were anything not stable or not something that you can actually build upon and invest in. If you're involved in something that is very tenuous, then it's not going to be something that appeals to you. As the higher message, this Ace of Pentacles is asking you to look at future relationships under this lens, or with this lens, and see if it rises to the occasion and is that type of relationship. Because otherwise you may end up with another negative situation on your hands. What is coming in is the Wheel of Fortune, which indicates that you're on an upswing in your life. Maybe you have been out of alignment, out of sorts, and this may be in connection with any kind of past relationship that was negative, and now you're ready to kind of enjoy being in sync with your good. Sometimes being in that negative relationship can kind of have a ripple effect and make the rest of your life not good also. That's why it's so important, because your life is holistic. One area affects the other. So you have a bad relationship, it could affect your job, it could affect your health. You know, if you have issues with your health, it could affect your job and your relationship. So everything has to be in good, it has to be harmonious in your life. You can't have everything orderly like a Virgo and then have your love life be chaotic. It's not going to be isolated from the rest of your life. Okay, here's the two cards that were coming out stuck together that I picked. I got the Seven of Pentacles and the Moon card for what is crossing you. Starting with let me start with the Moon card. The Moon card represents, it could be the sign of Pisces. Is it Cancer or Pisces? The Moon rules Cancer, but I think this card is associated with Pisces because it can be a card of self-deception. It can be a card of any kind of secrets that are being kept that you don't know about. You just had a solar eclipse in your 7th house in Pisces and back at the end of February. And that could have spurred on some new developments in your committed relationship sector that may be related to this, maybe talking about this, but this is a challenge card. So something is not necessarily how it should be relating to that. It could be talking about another moon that has been occurring. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, wait a minute, Virgo. I'm trying to see her. I don't know. I don't know if I can make that connection right now. I really don't. So what I'll say about this is that this could also be self-deception, okay? And one thing that I will say, if you're dealing with, let's say you're dealing with somebody, maybe you were dealing with an earth sign person, and that person may have been, it's funny because that person is showing up also in the higher message, and also at the final card. That could be the person who is more appropriate for you. Maybe it's more of the sword person who is causing problems, the Gemini. Gemini is the big one, I would say. The other air signs are Libra and Aquarius. But you may, it's possible, now I'm not saying that you particularly cheated or anything like that, but if you were in a relationship with an earth sign person and maybe they have tried to come back to you, or maybe they will, because you know we are having these retrogrades. Even Mercury is going to be retrograding for the first few days of May, but the aftermath of the recent Mercury Venus retrograde, that may have brought in somebody from the past. That could be the person that is good for you, because you know would be a fellow earth sign, but you may be addicted to some drama, I don't know. And likewise, this card is another Pentacles, which relates to earth. The Seven of Pentacles, this is about assessing your harvest and seeing if your investment in something is worthwhile. In the challenge position, you may throw away something that is very valuable. Maybe it was, I don't know. The Pentacles is in the past position, so I don't know if that would be a marriage, or just like a past relationship. So that's up for you to interpret, but it may be that you are too willing to throw something away because it's not producing the kind of results that you want very quickly. So, for instance, it's possible that some of you are very interested in somebody, but perhaps they are maybe they're just very laid back, and they're not, you know, especially if it's somebody like a Taurus or something, and they're very slow moving, and they're not someone who is all that exciting. And you may get a little bit antsy and think, oh, this person, you know, I don't know if they have what it takes. The Seven of Pentacles in the challenge position may be that you're too impatient to really know the diamond in the rough that you have going on here. And that could be to your detriment. And maybe there's some kind of, you're deluding yourself about some other person. Sometimes people go after the people that are not really into them too. And that's a shame, because if somebody's not into you, you're investing time in a dream. So, I don't know. Just some thoughts on that. And as I say, this is connected to Jupiter. So, I mean, it is possible that there's also a Libra person maybe that's the Swords person, the air sign, because we do have Jupiter in Libra, and that is your second house. That could be very good for you financially, but you might, the Libra person may also be somebody who helps to show you that you deserve more out of life. That's always a possibility, because the second house also deals with self-esteem issues. The outcome is the Four of Pentacles. So this can be that you are being very kind of, I would say, conservative, or, you know, the card represents having a strong hand over your finances. But in terms of any type of astrological reading, well, not astrological, but the kind of a love reading, I was thinking of the fact that you're a Virgo. This could be talking about ultimately who you end up with. Maybe you end up with another earth sign, like a Taurus, as I had mentioned earlier, a fellow Virgo, or even a Capricorn. But I think this is a facet of you for a lot of you. The number 4 represents stability. So what I see with those first two cards, the 5 of Pentacles indicates instability. So you may have felt like the rug was pulled out from under you because of what may have happened with the 10 of Swords. And you end up regaining that center and being a lot more stable, and therefore, I think, happy, Virgo, because you, as I say, you like to be organized. You like to have that discipline and that order in your life. You don't like chaos. And maybe you had a little bit of chaos earlier. And so whether it's through a new relationship or just through your own change of thinking patterns, I think that you are going to be able to build upon this new attitude of yours, and in some cases a new relationship that is really having a stabilizing influence on you. So that's awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this, Virgo. If you'd like a private relationship, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great May. Bye.